each and every person knows how to do this. So first week's going to be a little rocky, so to speak, like every class.
Yeah.
Can you see me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. I should be a handsome guy in the middle of the room.
You are.
Albert.
Yes. Uh, okay, there's no... this is a class of 32 students, so it's going to be kind of tricky to meet the needs of each and every student. Okay? It's a lot easier if I were in a classroom and students have to be at a certain place at 9:30 and leave at 11 o'clock and so on and so forth. I have one student email me that says they have a full-time job and can't meet for any class, period. So I'm just going to try to do my best to fill the needs of the students. I taught this class last year, so it was relatively easy for me to just copy the course from last year to this year, just kind of change the dates. I've been adding to the class over the past 4 weeks. Okay. Now, that being said, I see 7 students so far, and that's great because it's 9:30 in the morning, and to be honest with you, I'm not even that speedy at 9:30 in the morning. Okay, so this class started as like a Wednesday class, a nighttime class of C++. Then it kind of became an afternoon class of Python because I just told HCC I can't teach at night, can't teach on campus either. So I'm not sure which students got caught up when, or if they're just taking this class to fulfill a requirement, or if they're taking this class because they're exploring to become a computer programmer, or if they're just taking this class because they saw Python and jumped on the first Python class they can get their hands on. I'm going to teach this class online. The edict has come down that if it started online, it's going to end online at HCC. It's going to be kind of tricky because I never had to lead a class on 100% online before, especially a programming class. Programming class is what I would call almost required to be interactive on a one-on-one basis with many students. Hypothetically, I could, how can I put it politely? I could just give a lecture for an hour and a half, and that would be it. But if you've taken the Education 1300 class, that student success class, the lectures are usually only 10 to 15% material or subject matter retention. So it's not particularly a great idea to just have only a lecture and hope to goodness that all the students pick up on every little detail and nuance. So when I run a class, I talk a little bit, then I engage in conversations, then we do some in-class exercises. That being said, it's going to be a little bit different since this is online class. We're still going to use my programming lab. I find it to be an excellent way for students to learn how to program code. What I like about it is I can give a problem description and the student's able to type in some code and run it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, it does have a limited ways of pointing out that there are problems in the code. it does give an attempt. Now, as we progress in the class, we're going to find different ways. There's a million different ways to write code, uh, and there isn't a million different ways for the My Programming Lab to check those million different ways. So we're going to hit, some students will be hitting some obstacles in there. What can I say? It's not perfect. It's not a 100% system. Now, that being said, I would like to chat a little bit. I would like to ask a generic question to all the students right now. Are you taking online classes? And if so, what things work and what things don't work for you? Anybody like to chime up?
For me personally, online classes are a bit of a struggle because I excel more in an in-person setting. But usually, generally, like what you said, whenever you have a lecture for like an hour and a half, you don't retain all of that information, and that's generally what I don't enjoy sitting through.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to, I have to, but
Yeah, Mr. Pierce, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, you're in with like 95% of the population. My eyes rolls at lectures also. I'm not immune to that process. And that's just the reality of it. We're made of carbon and water and calcium and a few other neat ingredients, but that's just the way brains are wired. Anybody else have anything to say?
Yes, for me personally, interaction with a professor, even online, is the most crucial part to understand the content. And if I have any questions, it would be great if there is an easy way to contact the professor. And also to interact with the other students. For example, for the other classes, we have a GroupMe, and that's how we help each other if you have questions before contacting the professor, which would be the last resort.
Right. What,
So,
what did you say that was? What did you use?
a GroupMe,
GroupMe?
yes.
Oh, okay, maybe we can try that then.
Yeah, it's like a chatting platform where students post questions and they help each other, that kind of thing.
Okay. I'll check that out. It's a thin line between helping and cheating. Oh. That's my concern as an instructor. I actually had one student last year sign up for one of those online tutorial things where they pay some money and they get online tutor to help them with their homework problems, and that's fine. But what that student did, he basically cut and pasted the programming assignment, and the online tutor Googled it and found the programming assignment on a website somewhere and got the answer for it, because at that time I just pulled off a programming assignment from the book. So we got the answer, and so they just cut and paste the answer back at me. And I looked at the code and I knew that there was no way that student wrote code that flawlessly. And so I Googled the answer and I found the same source. So I confronted the student and asked them how they got this answer, and they signed on to his online tutelage, and he told me exactly verbatim, hey, this is what I did. And he said, okay, here's your 0. Because I expect the students to do the work themselves and not just go to an online resource and get an answer. So that being said, I put a statement in the introductory video for this class. By the way, who saw the introductory video on the main page for the class yet?
I did.
You did?
I did too.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fun.
It is. It's fun to put together too. I put a statement in there to kind of warn the students if they go online to look for the answer for a thing, then they are in severe danger in actually two ways. One is uh, if I have a question about an answer, if I think the answer is way the heck beyond the student's ability to provide, I can find it too. And the second one is, and this happened in last year's Python class, chances are good if you get an answer, if you Google for an answer, you'll get the wrong answer. I don't know if you're familiar with this website, but there's one called Quora, Quora, where people post all kinds of questions and answers, and that's just one of several. But the student posted the question, and well, another student in the past posted their answer to a question, and their answer was wrong. They had a problem, but they said, okay, I got a problem in my code. Can anybody fix it for me? And what happened was, and then later on they have a conversation and they work out all the problems with the code. But what happened was the student just copied and pasted the initial wrong answer. So that's a huge red flag for me. When I see something that just looks so bizarre and it has such a serious fault in it, I cut and paste too. I can find where it came from. Okay, that's my next answer. Anybody else have anything that they like or don't like about online classes we'd like to discuss? So far, Michael's my favorite student because I can actually see him.
Yeah. I had to clear everybody out of the room right now.
The first day stuff is kind of boring because I have to go through the introductory stuff. We won't do any actually programming until like the second week. Challenge for this class is I have to basically shove 12 weeks worth of instruction in 16 weeks. I'm sorry, 16 weeks worth of instruction into 12 weeks. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And of course, it's entirely online. So there's going to be a little, some pressure. I have one student that says they can't attend class at all because they work full time, and so that's their own decision. Now, the way I want to hold the class or run the class is I can have a regularly scheduled time where I have some sort of instructional interactive material. I would hopefully, once we start rocking and rolling, get into myprogramminglab.com and we can start writing tiny bits of code. See, the way to learn is I have you do all these in-class exercises, and they're small point value things, but if you master those individual things, then we can build upon that and actually write decent code. And then afterwards, I'll have to test you on it. Now, personally, I hate exams. I never liked them. I'd rather have a doing class than just teaching you to answer on an exam. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Subsequently, I kind of changed the grading to cover that. Now let me see if I can get the required stuff out of the way. See if I can find it. I have to cover the syllabus. Everybody see that now?
Yes.
Everybody see the syllabus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Da. So this is Programming Fundamentals 2. Crap. Nuts. It should be Programming Fundamentals 1. I'll have to change the CRN right there. There's not going to be any great way to serve everybody since this is an online class. I can be reached, well, this is the departmental phone number, but I prefer to be reached online through my email address. I find that I should say instructors find that if they start giving out their phone numbers, then they're going to have students contact them all the time, says, hey, I'm late for this program, can you give me extension? Hey, I'm late, so on and so forth. I'm flexible, but I don't want a bunch of students to keep on texting me, can you give me an extension because, I don't know, it's flooding in the streets or so on and so forth. How's the great big things for the class are, what's the textbook? How, let me ask a group question. How are textbooks handled now in this brave new world of online only?
I mean, it kind of felt a little retro receiving a book.
Retro?
Oh, no, I've cracked it open. It seems good.
I mean, you can't go on campus to get the textbook right. Nope.
Yeah, I've found that all of the textbooks for the classes I've had online have generally been ebooks.
Yeah.
There's a way to get them online for free.
This is no different. If we'll get into it, but you can get the book online as part of the My Programming Lab assignment. See, before, right, you could just walk to the bookstore and just say, hey, I'm taking COSC1436 with Python, and they'll know exactly what to get you. And you just bring it to class. But now I have a motion sensor on my light. If I stay too still for too long, it turns the light off. You could just walk to the bookstore and then you're done. Here you'll have to go to My Programming Lab to buy access. And then you just you need the My Programming Lab ID code. And then you can have a choice of either buying just access to My Programming Lab and get the book PDF elsewhere, or you could go on site and get them bundled together or what have you. I really don't know which one's better, which one's best for the students. And I say that knowing that some of you may be on a military funding, and subsequently you have a requirement to buy it from the HTC bookstore. I'm not sure if that's even possible. I'm not sure how to do that. But I'll just tell you right now, you just go to My Programming Lab and then select the course code, and I'll let you know the course code. shortly. Yeah. You could look up the course code and just buy it there. Uh, Here we have tutoring. There is tutoring available. Libraries, supplemental instruction, course overview, student outcomes, student success. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of that. These syllabuses are basically boiler templates, a lot of them. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. Here's how I'm grading the course. First, I'm going to say, this is what I have to do. This is what's mandated from on high. I have to give you a midterm. I have to give you a final. Okay. It's up to me how many points are on the midterm and final. So I just said, okay, midterms 10%, finals 10%. So you don't have to stress out about being able to be a master of taking an exam to pass the course. You do have to, on the other hand, you do have to know how to program by the end of the course. So if you're great with projects and lousy with exams, this is the course for you. Okay. If you're great with exams but lousy for projects, this may not be the course for you. Now that being said, I do have quizzes. What are the quizzes like? They are multiple choice, and they are true and false things. They are nice true or false things in that, and multiple choices that they're actually very nicely thought out. You will have to know the material to be able to get a good grade on the quiz. Now, how many times can you take a quiz? You could take an infinite amount of time. Can you Google a quiz and get the answer? Well, not well. Believe me, a lot of these questions and answers, you really do need to know the material because Google will not, and in some cases I intentionally worded it, that Google will not give you the right answer immediately. You do have to know the material. Programming assignments, 50%. I have 5 programs. 5 programs, and subsequently, that's 10% apiece. Now, when I do give a program assignment, it's well in advance. Basically, by the time I tell you the program assignment is published, you're able to do it right there and then in that class. There's no, there's no learning curve that you have to master. By the time I tell you that in other words, by the time I tell you that the program's available and due, you know the material enough to do the program. Now that being said, I plan to change the first one, program 1, a little bit because the answer is available on the internet. So I found a different one I can use. Actually, I got a funny story about the first book, but we'll get into that. My programming lab, I just have a weight of 14% because I need something to kind of sop up all the extra points. If you do things in class and I see activity, then you get the 14%. That's kind of like a filler grade. So that is your icing on your cake. Okay. If you did great on program assignments, quizzes, midterms, and programming lab, you get a solid 90 in the course, you don't have to take the final. Okay, it's a rare student that's like that, but you can just kind of turn in the final with your name on it, get 5 points, and you got your A in the course. Okay, incomplete policies. Student must have completed at least 85% of the work for the course. Incomplete policies generally kick in if there's something outside of the student's control that really impacted them from completing the course. That would be something like a hospitalization, or if they were in a car accident, or they're under arrest or something very much out of the student's control. This is the order of everything. Missed assignments. There are no makeups for exams or makeup quizzes. Late assignments will have a cumulative penalty of 10% for every missed day. I'm going to hold you to that because the way programming assignments are, you kind of build off of previous work, previous mastery of material to complete an assignment. In other words, if you're late with program 1, it really does affect your ability to complete program 2 on time. Or if you're late with program 2, it affects your ability to complete program 3 and perhaps even complete program 4 on time. So that kind of puts the onus on me to grade them as quickly as possible. And the only way I can do that is if everybody's stuff is there the day after it's due. But generally speaking, everything's kind of spaced out evenly. So there really shouldn't be any great reason why it can't be done. Academic integrity. Here's a link about basically it covers cheating. Believe you me, there's nothing a student has done that I haven't seen before. So if there's any questions on that, I can answer them right now. Everybody knows what academic integrity is. Anybody have any questions? See, I can't really use this line in class. Usually if I ask a question in class, nobody says anything. I'll say, well, I bet you somebody's got something to say. I find that students, if a student has a question, then really good chance that at least 2 other students have a similar question, right? Historically, when there is a point of confusion, it's usually because it's an international student and they have different practices and work involved for students. And that's because a lot of students from other countries, well, not I shouldn't say a lot, some students from other countries do a lot of group work, a lot of group teamwork. Here's what I have to say about that. That's a cultural thing. I can have group work in this class. You probably know group work as by its more polite term, team projects. But in order for a team project to be worthwhile, I'll have to increase the complexity of it. In other words, I have to make the homework harder. And I've never seen a student that wants harder homework and do a team project. I could be wrong. Am I wrong? Any students want to volunteer for team projects and harder homework?
No.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. See, I kind of know what's going on, and I just want to share that with you.
I have a question in regards to the I guess the builds, the assignments. Do you have like a practice plan that we kind of see how they're supposed to go?
Could you restate that, please?
The programming assignments.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of a practice or example or some
Yeah,
show us kind of what that's going to entail?
yeah. That's my programming lab.
Okay.
Okay, my programming lab is your practice. Okay, it'll be smaller things, simple things. But by the time we've covered a topic or a subject matter, we'll do a bunch of small things in my programming lab. It'll be almost like a group session. And then I release you to do an actual program.
And you said that eventually we'll get some kind of a pin to log into that?
Yeah, I can give you that to you today.
Okay.
Okay, but I just want to cover the basics right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, the program, those are going to be the big ones, right? So if you kind of look at it, you program here for 50%, you programming here, that's a solid 64%, right? So that's at least, that's almost 2/3 of the class right there is just programming. Quizzes is just a mastery of the material. It's true, false, it's multiple choice, and I put a time on the quizzes. So hypothetically, you could Google the question, but boy, if you're hitting Google, you're burning the clock out right there. Know what I'm saying? And it'll just poof. The midterm, okay, I'll tell you what the midterm and the final exam is going to be like. The midterm, a healthy chunk of that are going to come from the quizzes. There will be true, false, there will be multiple choice, and then there will be questions like write code to do this or write code to do that or describe this algorithm. What does this algorithm do? What does this code do in your own words? Those will be questions that hypothetically you could Google the answer for. I'll tell you right now, boy oh boy, if you're doing that, that means you don't know the material and your chance of cut and pasting the wrong stuff is huge. I kind of see that a mile out. I could post examples of that, kind of give you an idea, but as soon as I do that, I have to change the question. I could do that a bit. But yeah, oh, thank you for the question. Sometimes when I ask a question, uh, well, during a regular class, I kind of pause to ask a question, see if the students are keeping up to date on what I'm saying. Because I've taught computer science classes so often, I tend to go real fast sometimes. This is doubly complex because it's an online course, so I can't read the room, so to speak, to see if students comprehend what I'm talking about. Has anybody taken a course where this instructor just lectures on and on and on for like an hour, hour and a half, and that they call it a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in one right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
On my econ courses, stuff like that.
Okay, let's do the math on that just for a little bit, okay? Let's just say, oh, I told you it's 10, 15%, right? Let's just say I have 50 things to deliver to the students, and I just lecture on and on and on and on. If I take 10, 15% of that, that means the students maybe got between 5 and up to 8 things to talk about. Or I should say, to retain and talk about and work with. I could slow my interaction down to like I deliver 20 things to say, I talk about, but then I ask the students about the topics and see how they're able to use it and put it together into new formations. In other words, see if the material's sinking in and they're able to use that material, evaluate it, and draw their own conclusions, right? If I do that, then the retention is up to 70%. Okay, so in that scenario, if I take 70% out of 20, then the students have retained about 14%, 14 topics, or 14 matters of subject mastery. In other words, by going slower and asking students to do things, you actually retain more and you get more out of the course. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I'll be handling class like that as much as possible. Okay. There will be times when you're going to have a good day. There will be times when you're going to have a bad day. There will be times when I'm having a good day and a bad day. Excuse me, I have to drink some milk. To be honest with you, talking all the time kind of makes me a little hoarse. Okay. Oh, when it comes down to exams, I'm just going to make like the midterm open for the whole week, and you take it once. Okay. Likewise with the final. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can open up the midterm, but the final has to be taken on a certain day, and that's required by HCC policy. That's one of the hardest rules to have in place. And we'll cover if you can't make it to the final, you should tell me about that as soon as possible, and we can make some sort of arrangement. HCC policies, they used to list them on and on and on syllabuses. Now they just say, oh, excuse me, here's a link and go forward. If you're still in this class after the drop date, then you have the opportunity to evaluate me online. And we'll go over how to do that when time comes. Are there any first-time students here? This is your first semester? Anybody? Anybody this is the first semester? Everybody here has been at least...
Yes, it's my first.
Okay, I don't know who said that, but...
It's Shiraz.
Hi. I'll tell this for the benefit of the first-time students. After you've passed what's called the drop date, you'll have the ability to evaluate the instructor. That is in the form of taking an online questionnaire. You do this anonymously, and the HCC institution itself, that's their only way of evaluating their professors. I don't know if you ever noticed it, but in the pre-COVID-19 days, teachers used to teach all the times, and their bosses would never pop in to evaluate the course to see if the instructors are doing their job. Chances are really good that if you had an instructor that wasn't particularly effective for one reason or another, that it's because that their evaluations weren't numerous enough or weren't numerously bad enough to trigger a course correction. Now, I'm not going to embarrass anybody by asking them, but chances are really good that the more experienced students here have had bad experiences with instructors, right?
Oh, yes.
So a good chunk of that is because, see, here's the thing. In any course, I'm going to have students that are going to think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and there's going to be students that think I'm the worst thing ever. Okay, it's horrible. I did a horrible job. And a lot of that is because they have other things going on in their life they have no control of. I remember I had one student that just hated going to class, and it wasn't me. It was because he was completing his rounds of chemotherapy and he just hated life. He was in a great deal of pain and he was kind of surly about it. But my evaluation from him was horrible, horrible. And Another time, I kind of caught two students cheating, so their evaluation, I knew exactly who it was. Their evaluation of me was horrible because they accidentally put in identifying marks on the course, on their course evaluation. That being said, when it comes time, I'll tell you briefly on how to fill out a survey. And by briefly, I mean I'll point out where on PeopleSoft it's available. In the old days, I would dedicate some class time for the students to complete it. But everything's online now, so I don't know how that's going to be handled. I'll just keep on reminding you to do it. And also in the old days, I would give a 3% bonus across the board for all the students. In other words, you get, if you're at a 70% in class, you get a 73, or if you're at 88, you get a 91. If at least 75% of the students complete the evaluation. And during the course, I can't see anything about the evaluations but the number that were completed. That's it. After, like 6 weeks after the end of the course, I get to see what students said, what numbers they ticked off, and so on and so forth. But I won't be able to see who said what unless they put something that individually marks them. Like, put in your name. I'm going to ask you not to do that. Don't put in your name. Okay, any questions about evaluations? I went on and on about that a little bit. Campus carry. If you're carrying something, you're at home. So I don't care. HEC email policy. Email me through your HCC account. That way it's guaranteed that I'll get it. If you're using something else, I don't know, Gmail, AOL, Yahoo, what have you like that, it's not guaranteed that I'll get it, so you have to keep your fingers crossed. Housing and food assistance, that's available. Office of Institutional Equity, that's available. Disability services. If you've got something I should know about, if you've got paperwork, I should know about that as soon as possible. And I will change my instructional delivery method accordingly. That's the rule. Title IX, it's committed to cultivating an environment free from inappropriate conduct of a sexual and gender-based nature and sex discrimination. Don't sexually harass people. We're trying to make this a great environment in which learning is accomplished. If there are problems, here are the links: an Office of Dean Students and the department share contact information. Okay, any questions about the syllabus? Yes, no?
No.
No.
So, Professor, for the My Programming Lab assignments,
Yeah.
can we take them infinitely, like the programming assignments? Like if we get a wrong answer, we can redo it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna count it as activity based. If I see activity or enough activity, as far as grading is concerned, yeah, I'll answer that now a little bit, and when we get into it, I'll cover it more. But for now, when I'm grading stuff, if I see that you've done enough stuff over the course, you get the full 14%. Okay. During the course of this class, I'll say, okay, we covered so and such and such. To demonstrate that you know a thing, let's fire up my programming lab and I'll say, do question 2.4 or question 3.5 or question 3.7. Okay. That's going to be very much on a day-by-day basis because there's a certain ebb and flow in any class. And since this class is 100% online, I'm not sure how much I'll be able to cover on a particular day, right? If I was in class and I could just copy it from last year's class, right? And just say, oh, I made this do, I made that do. It's going to be more or less the same. Well, that was 16 weeks in class. Now I got 12 weeks online. And the ebb and flow are going to be quite a bit different. Okay. Seem to be using a lot of the filler words okay right now. We'll get into it, but my programming lab will be your opportunity to demonstrate, will be an opportunity for every student to demonstrate if they know the material or not. You'll be able to work on a particular question multiple times. It's not it won't kill you if you make mistakes. In fact, you're almost guaranteed to make at least one mistake the first few times using it. I know I did. But at the end of the day, you'll be able to know the material. And I'll have a way of knowing that you know the material because I can look at stuff going on. That's a long answer for a short question, isn't it? Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? Nothing? Okay. I'll confess, I'm a little bit. I'm not an expert at this Cisco stuff. But Michael continues to be my favorite student because he's the only one with the camera pointed at him. Okay. Oh, last thing for attendance policies. I'm just going to give everybody attendance. It's just too it's just too hard to be fair about it because everything's online. And if I had a class, if this was pre-COVID-19, I could fairly knock a student for not attending class because that's what they signed up for. That's what the contract stipulates. There's a whole bunch of reasons behind it, right? But this is a different world now. I know that this is online only, and they changed the hours, and they changed this, they changed that. You can't really hold the students responsible for meeting a standard that isn't there. So this is your one time only that I'm just going to just. I don't even know how other instructors can count attendance or not because everything's online. The onus is on me to make sure everything is in Canvas for you to learn, and that's fine because it's there already. But as far as students showing up for class, well, it's online. If you're there, you're there, and if you're not, well, eventually that'll catch up to you. Okay. I'm gonna have to. This is really handy to have a motion sensor in your room. Not so great when you have an on-off class. Okay. So that being said, I should now that I got more students. Oh, I should ask the question. Should answer. We'll start using GroupMe as soon as we get to know more about it. Anybody have really good experiences with GroupMe?
It works pretty well if everybody participates.
Alrighty. Maybe that's what we should start rolling off with. I'll play around with it a little bit. But while I'm here, please, oh please, don't start bootlegging the PDF or the book for this class. That is kind of getting around the system, and besides, you can probably get the PDF version of it solo for about $15. That's not enough to break into the budget. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my history. That's what instructors like to do on the first day. I'm actually from Michigan. Probably picked up from my Midwestern accent. I'm not from Houston. I'm not native to Houston. A Houston woman worked her charms on me, and 22 years ago we got married. I have 2 daughters. They're twins. They're both seniors in high school, and they're both also virtual students. I know I'm not, statistically speaking, I know I'm not the only parent in the class. I'm never the only parent in the class. So there's probably at least one student here that's old enough to have children of their own and probably have to deal with, should I send my students to school or not? And that's a difficult decision. And I have no insight on anything. It's gut wrenching either way. I went to school from 86 to 93. I got my bachelor's and master's in computer science from Michigan Technological University. I did a lot of software development work. I worked for IBM, I worked for Innovis, I worked for FFCI. I did a consulting gig for a while. And right around 2012, yes, 2012, I got another master's degree, another master's in education and another master's degree in education in adult and higher education. My last name is Slovenian, so I'm a supermodel just like the other Slovenian supermodel. Can anybody tell me who the other famous Slovenian supermodel is?
I don't know.
Anybody?
Melania?
That's it. Somebody got it. That's the first time since I've been running that joke for about 2 years. Yeah, it's Melania. We're not related. The only thing we have in common is our grandfathers were both born in Slovenia, but mine moved out in 1910. So we're not related at all. Gosh, it's gonna be hard. And Michael, you're my favorite student now. Did you tell us something about yourself?
Well, I'm a husband and a father. My son's 3 years old, and he's in the other room right now. So, getting my mom to watch him. However, since it rained today, and my wife, she's working from home too. So, we're all on computers right now at the moment. So, I used to be a small engine mechanic for my family's chainsaw shop, and I also helped run it for 10 years. We shut down maybe 2018, 2019. And so I was in the law enforcement, but since I got married, my mom and my wife encouraged me not to continue with the law enforcement. And so it kind of left me stuck, kind of trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. One of my best friends, he's in the IT field, and he recommended it, to me because within I'd say about a year, he was making just as much as a police officer. So that appealed to me, and so I started looking at cybersecurity and whatnot, and to me that just kind of, I don't know, it interested me. Started watching YouTube videos about IT, and that's why I'm here. Pretty much, I'm just trying to pursue a career in the IT field.
Okay. Michael, did you know that HCC has a very active cybersecurity degree plan?
I guess once I saw it, I figured there's more to it than just, having it listed. I saw that there was groups and whatnot, and I thought, hey, this is something good here, to get involved with. It's not just a regular course that they have available. Like it's more, catered to the student, and so.
Mhm. I say that because last year I remember going to a departmental meeting, and they were talking about how they were winning awards. They were competing on the national level, and subsequently they were really going head to head with UT on some competitions. So they really have an active cybersecurity degree plan that's really competing heavily well against universities. So I would recommend that you, if you're curious about it, I would recommend you following up and see what that's all about. See if you got uh, uh, an interest and a talent for it.
I'll put the link in the chat. I think this is what they compete in, the National Cyber League.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was Andrew talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can continue talking for us now, Andrew.
I mean, not much to say. I'm just trying to get my cybersecurity degree finished up. I'm in my second semester for it.
Mm-hmm.
For all this COVID stuff, I worked as a line cook for 3 years, so I was working and going to school. But once all this stuff hit, I've just been kind of grounded, just working on school and trying to get by, really.
Mm-hmm. La, 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 la. Has what kind of classes have you taken so far in cybersecurity field?
I've taken pretty much all the basics
Mm-hmm.
that they ask you to take for the first semester, and this semester I'm enrolled in firewall and network security, intrusion detection, this class here, and what was the other one? Computer virtualization.
You're a very busy person.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. Anybody else want to talk? I used to have two kinds of students in my classes, volunteers and voluntold. How about you, Gabriel? Dang it, a lot of people turn off their
Sure.
mics.
So what, just a general description of what we do right now in our class load, or?
Yeah, whatever you want to volunteer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm an econ major at UH Maine. I'm taking a few courses at HCC to fulfill some cores. I do still work. I work at a body shop, and that's been pretty fun over the years. It's nice, consistent work, but I don't know if that's what I want to do for the next couple of years because it can be pretty stressful. Dealing with how much load we usually have. So, but yeah, in this class, I've always been interested in computers, coding, so I wanted to get in this class as one of my courses that I had to take and see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Shiraz, would you like to talk a bit?
Yes. I am also a parent, just like Michael. I am a mom of two. My son is 10 and my daughter is 6. They're home today because of the rain. I am originally an architect, and I got interested in computer science and computers in general along the way. So after taking a break because of parenting, I decided to, study computer engineering. And here I am today. This is my first semester at HCC. So I'm trying to kind of balance being a parent and a student, and a wife, which is not always easy, but yeah, I'll try. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Nobody's alone in being a parent. HCC is a great place to reinvent yourself, so to speak, to explore new career paths. That's why, statistically speaking, community college students don't last just 2 years in community college. A lot of them are parents, a lot of them are part time. It's only the fresh out of high school full time students that usually complete in 2 years. That's why the 2 year degree attainment rate is percentage is so low. It's like 10-15%. That's because most of the students are part time or parents or jobs or so on and so forth. The average degree completion duration is actually closer to 6 years. That's nationwide average. I don't have the number for HCC. Anybody else would like to start talking about themselves? Here, the reason I ask people to talk is because I usually have something to say, something to share, something to help them along their pathway. Now, for Michael and who was the other guy? Gabriel, right? Said he was in IT and security field. I would share with them. Ta-da! Do you see the page now? You see this web page?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the web page for the Harris County Public Library, right? They have an excellent resource that's just crazy good for IT people. And all you need to do is access it is a Harris County Public Library card. If you live in Texas, it's just not Harris County, but if you live in Texas, you could go to them and ask for a library card with proof of your residency in Texas. Of course, the immediate proof is your driver's license, or if you don't have your driver's license, a bill in your name with a Texas address, phone bill, credit card bill, something like that. You'll be able to get it. Now, if you go to the website, you can click on ebooks and online learning. Did I get that right? And get a list of things you can research with. Now I'm going to scroll here quickly because I already know where it is. There's this resource called Safari Books Online. Safari Books Online are all the great textbooks in IT fields and a little bit beyond that sell for in between $30 to $130 at Barnes and Noble or Books A Million or what have you like that. If you were to pay for this out of your pocket, it would cost about $120, $130 a year for access to all the books. But if you have a library card, and log in. Ah, nuts. It hit its limit. This would be great if I did this, planned on this beforehand. You're able to get access to all the IT books. And this is why I don't like live demos, because sometimes they fail. These will be all like how to do cybersecurity, how to program in Python, how to pass the networking security test certification, so on and so forth. And that's usually, oh man, I would have loved to be able to show you. The downside of this service is there's no more than 5 people, 5 concurrent licenses shown access. In other words, only up to 5 people in Harris County can access this website at one time. And it's usually, this never happens. But it happened today. Maybe Thursday's class, I'll have it fired up and ready. Nope. Okay, anybody else would like to talk a bit? I'm gonna have to put on my eyeballs. Krista? You here?
Yes.
Would you like to tell a little bit about yourself?
Hello, my name is Krista. I'm Congolese. I came here 2 years ago, right? Yeah. And my associate in HCC is engineering science, and I plan to transfer for petroleum engineering and eventually do a master in finance.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
All right, we've got one financial person taking a programming class. It's bold exploration.
Thank you.
So it's not often that students know exactly that they want to go up to a master's degree. I didn't know when I started in '86. Anybody else would like to talk? Dustin,
Yes, sir.
would you like to tell us about yourself?
Of course. I'm Dustin. I'm 19 years old. I'm going for a bachelor's degree in computer science. I actually do have a little bit of experience in programming. I'm mainly a JavaScript developer, but I know a little bit of Python, just not much. But I also plan to be transferring into U of H, hopefully next year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
There's a lot of transfer fairs HTC sponsors. The thing is, 85% of students transfer without a problem. That kind of means that 15 to 20% have at least one problem pop up. I would recommend you go to a transfer fair regardless if you feel you're in the 80% or the 20%, because you never want those kind of surprises to hit you at the last minute. What classes transfer and how changes from university to university, and I can't really give you great advice on what's going to apply for all universities. I can tell you this class will transfer as a programming class to many universities in many degree fields, but I'm not sure if it'll do the deed for all universities. So I would advise you to double check.
Okay, thank you.
And you're another person I need to. I better get the Safari Online up and running on Thursday's class before I start. Shiraz, did I call on you yet?
Yes.
Yes, you did. I did. Let me see. How about Gabriel? Did I call on you?
Yes.
Lade? Lade? Lade?
Hi. Um, okay. Actually, my full name is pretty long, so I just go by the short form. So is it Demi or Lade? I'm Nigerian. I've been here for a while. My bachelor's is in kinesiology from Texas A&M, San Antonio. Um, I recently transitioned. I've worked as a personal coach for a little bit, but got tired of yelling at people. So I'm currently doing cybersecurity. Uh, Next spring will be my last semester, and I'll be done. And then I'll be going for my master's in MBA and a concentration in cybersecurity at Baylor. So yeah, that's it.
I really do need to get that Harris County Public Library link up.
I'm sorry?
I really need to get that link up and running. We've got a lot of people in cybersecurity. I know HCC offers a great program, but in terms of, well, you're a little bit further along the process than other students.
Yeah, I started in the spring, and most of the electives I already have them because I was at HCC before I left to A&M. So I just have my core classes to take, and I'm taking 4 classes this semester. So I have 4 left, and I'll be done.
Mm-hmm. I can't get to it, but I'm going to put it in a text message. There's this website called meetup.com. I believe that's what it is. I can't get to it because my wife set up the security in the house to keep from social networking websites, to keep from my teenage girls from doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And unfortunately, that also covers other innocent places. And meetup.com, there's a website where you put in your interests and then it finds out the professional organizations that serve that particular interest. So, why do I mention that? As you progress, as you get closer to wanting to be employed in that field, uh, you're going to have to network in the field to find out who's hiring what, where, and when.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does HCC help with getting, say, internships? Because I'm trying to get internship. I'm currently on the process with IBM, but I didn't know if HCC had that because, for one, especially with the pandemic, we've not been able to go into the school to talk to anyone or anything. So, do they have that provision in regards to helping, like, get internships?
I've heard there's occasional things that pop up, and when they do, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But the long and the short of it is, an internship is usually for more experienced students, and HTC just teaches first and second year classes. So there's not a huge demand for internships at that level. I can tell you, I did an internship 3 times with IBM. but they're in between my third and fourth year, and my fourth year, and my in between. Well, in between my first and second year of graduate school, and that's the way it worked out for me. There's the occasional internship that pops up, but I don't know the department that services that or what field there is that does that. Who does that? It's not a great answer for your question, but it's the best answer I've got.
Yeah, I know. I did check some companies, and I applied to IBM, and I've gone through their assessment, so I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Mm-hmm. IBM is a great company to do an internship with.
Yeah, but their assessment is really, oh my God, it's a lot of assessments. It's a lot.
It's not trivial.
No, it's not. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
How about these names keep on changing? Zach, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, I recently got out of the Marine Corps about 5 months ago. I was a range coach there, and I got into computers whenever I built a gaming PC, and now I'm just trying to pursue programming. That eventually I can move out to Colorado and have a good paying programming job.
Let me see if I could. Are you able to? I shouldn't ask too much. I know. Are you a full-time student, Zach?
Yeah, right now because I'm getting VA stuff, so I'm just doing it full time.
Right. You just started. What I would like to share with you, and this is just for for your information only kind of stuff. There are other ways to know things. If you're curious, if you're exploring, there's these things called massive open online classes, right? The thing is, you're able to take a class. It may apply to what you like. It may not apply. These classes are not accredited, which is the short of it means is if you take this class, you cannot get it transferred to a community college or to a university unless it specifically says that you're able to do it. Many of these classes are free. A few of them they do charge money for, and it's as good as whatever the market says it's good as. If you want to explore and just take a class and not pay anything for it, and you just want to know if you're good at it or if you like the topic,
I'd be open to it.
I would say take a peek at some of these. Okay, I can't vouch for anything because there's a bajillion classes, right? I'll have to look at each one. I can tell you there's a Python class, and it's probably going to cover the same material I'm covering. But this class transfers to universities, whereas this one does not. They have, dang it, I didn't see security. I do see business, and maybe some of the finance people could look at some of these business and management classes and tell me if they're worth anything. This is where I go to keep the saw sharp, so to speak, because I do like to take the occasional IT class or take a class on how to educate the students. My other favorite Coursera. And let's see. Ooh. There are other things to be learned about security. Sometimes it's a complete degree plan, right? Everything's online. They have a shareable certificate, which is worth whatever. And you can just basically learn about things. Now, I would caution the students, they're great for just basic knowledge, but I have absolutely no idea how much the market values such as certification. In other words, you could pay a bunch of money and it may be worth a lot, or a bunch of money and may be worth next to nothing. But if you're curious about a thing, if you want to explore it, and there's no consequence, and it's free, there's no consequences, give it a shot. Okay, I'm gonna stop that for now. La 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 la. How about you, Utsav?
So my name's Itsav. I actually go to YouTube, but I've been back because of COVID. Just taking a few of my computer science classes here at ATC. And yeah.
Yeah, it's a bucket of bad stuff. Now let me ask the class one question. Anybody have a problem, or does Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 11 kind of fit your schedules? I may be working off of I'd call the survivor's bias. I'm asking the students who are here now on a Tuesday 9:30 to 11 if it works for them. Are there other times that you prefer?
It works fine for me.
Yeah, it works fine for me as well. I have an evening class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so this fits in well.
I know this class initially appeared as a C++ class at night, and suddenly it became a Tuesday, Thursday class for Python. And the students that are sticking around are probably students that don't particularly care if it's C++ or Python. They just need a programming requirement out of the way. Anybody here want to be a Python programmer? Who took this class to be a Python programmer?
I'm very interested in learning Python.
Yeah, I took the class because I was interested in learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a friend who's who's a security analyst, and he said that learning Python is good for, this specific path. So I chose this one over all the other ones.
I could tell you historically, being a computer programmer is actually pretty stinking good in terms of pay and in terms of happiness, right? How can I put it? Their starting pay is usually, I did a query for the video I made in the class. Starting pay for entry level, just fresh out of university, is somewhere around 70,000 for Houston, and that's not nothing. That's actually pretty good for starting a pay across the field amongst many disciplines. And you're able to get that pay without getting $200,000 in student loans that you would get if you want to become a medical doctor, for example. So it hits a really nice sweet spot for many people. And usually computer programmers are happier sorts. They love to be behind the computer. They love to solve problems. They love just to learn new technologies. So they're generally pretty happy about it. I've had people come from across many different industries many times because they don't like the job that they're in right now. It's kind of hard on them. Welders, mechanics, or people just want to explore things. I've also had people, international students, just take the class just because they need to take a class in something somewhere. They would also take the 1436 and the 1437 class at the same time, which is kind of extreme. Okay, we hit the 11 o'clock. Well, 10:59. Are there any questions, comments, concerns about what I covered so far?
I saw that you're recording the lectures. Are you going to be posting these under the modules, or?
I'm going to be posting them in Canvas.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure where the best place is. I might make a module called Course Recordings, and it would be the last module in the sequence. Okay, I might post them in the individual module as it goes through.
Professor, there's a tab under Cisco WebEx. So there's a tab for joining a meeting, and there's also another tab for past meetings and a third tab for recorded meetings. So that's where I usually find the recorded meeting for other classes.
Sounds good. And maybe I'll look at.
Well, I'll have to see I'll see. I mean, it's recording right now. It's going straight to my hard drive. So I'll have to see, I'll have to figure out what has to go on. Okay. I'll be honest with you. The Cisco introduction for instructors was very brief, painfully brief. And so like, here it is. Here's the button. Go to it. And it's more of a learn as you go. My interview with HCC to become a part-time instructor was also painfully short. It's basically, I met with the department head, handed me the textbook for the class, says, you want to teach it? I said, yeah. Okay, you start. Very much feet on the ground, learning as you go. But yeah, it's recording now, and I'll upload it somewhere, somehow, and I'll let you know. Also, check out GroupMe. It sounds like it's a good thing, and a lot of students benefit from it. So I'm going to see if I'm going to check it out just for my curiosity. Any other questions? Anything at all?
Oh, sure enough.
Professor, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I didn't have any other questions. You're good.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I have another question, if you don't mind. So for the 1436, which is entitled Programming 1 Python, so if I take the 1437 Programming Fundamentals 2 using also Python, would that be like a more advanced class than this one?
That's a very good question. It's a short question that actually has a very long answer. 1437, the nature of the beast is HCC offers a lot of 1436 classes and not that many 1437 classes. I can tell you my experience is 1437, when I taught it, students stampeded in because it's a harder class. Instructors that can handle it are few and far between. And they take it regardless what their experience was. To put it politely, they would I taught it with C++. Many students took their 1436 class. It was in Java, or it might have been C++, or it could have been just any programming class. They took it 1437 because they had to take it regardless of what their previous experience is. What I'm politely trying to say is if you see a 1437 class, it may be in C++, it may be in Python, and I can't guarantee what it's going to be like in the future. I know the 1437 classes are few and far between. If there is a 1437 class in Python, I don't know of it. I'm not sure. In other words, I'm not sure when you want to take 1437 if there's going to be a 1437 class in Python. It might be in C++. It might be in Java. Am I clear?
You need to know or to have minimum knowledge about the program before taking the 1437, right? Like it's not an introductory class.
Yeah. I could tell you, remember I told you I had an international student taking 1436 and 1437 at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in two different languages. So he was working very hard to get a good grade in both classes. He didn't have any computer experience in either one. So it was a bit of a race for him. It was a bit of a struggle, but he's able to do it. A lot of the techniques I have are in this class are going to be very generic, very basic. There are going to be some things that Python does really well, like lists. It does it very obviously. There's a nice flow, but there's a lot of things, variables, loops, functions, graphics that are same across the board. Okay, so the leap from Python to say Java is not insurmountable, but it is. You do have to spend a little extra time doing it. If you want, I can go on PeopleSoft.
Thank you.
If you want, I can go on PeopleSoft and see if there is a 1437 class in Python. But I don't know if there is. I don't know if there isn't one. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything at all? Michael and I are the only cool people with web cameras? I actually had to buy this last spring. I bought it under pandemic pricing scheme because Best Buy was all sold out. Best Buy, Target, Walmart, everything was all sold out of web cameras, and I had to pay pandemic prices for it, which is basically I went on eBay, paid double. I don't know if that's been your experience.
I actually I look young, but I'm 34 years old, and you know, a lot of this online, and I mean just anything is just kind of, you know, I'm starting to feel like you know, old with just technology in general. So I spoke to a counselor, you know, via web meeting. Didn't have my shirt on. Luckily, I was not recording at the time. And I think the second time I had got an email to join some kind of it was like a group kickoff for you know, just being involved with the online community and you know, with HCC. I think that was like this past Saturday or whatnot, around 3 or 4. I logged on, and for whatever reason, I just saw all these you know, videos of everyone, and I just got the church giggles. I don't know if you've heard of that. Just I don't, for whatever reason, I just couldn't stop laughing. Like I just had these giggles, and it was not caused by anything particular. I just kept giggling, and I had to you know, push away the camera. And my wife was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, which I said, "I don't know. I just felt real silly. Like, I don't know. It's kind of, you know, new to me." And whatnot. So that was the second time, getting used to it. But that felt, a little bit more comfortable.
Anything else? Everybody see that doodly, that intro video? Maybe I should open up tomorrow's class with the chapter 1 video. I enjoy making it. It's a lot of fun. I'm just wondering if the student retains information after watching the video. Anyways, I'm going to close this meeting down now. Close this class down now. Wish you all well. See you on Thursday, 9:30. Like I said, everybody attend class. I can't really hold anybody if they don't attend class. No other questions at all?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right,
All
bye.
right, have a good one.
See you.
Take care, everybody.